This is one of a few 100,000 subscriber specials that I have planned, so thank you all very much for your incredible support. For our first special, we have to tackle the story of Carthu once again and continue the tale that we began 50,000 subscribers ago. When we left Universe 6's Earth, Carthu had stopped the planet from warring again and went on to actually fight Champa as well. This was the God of Destruction's way of testing Carthu to see if he's good enough to be in the next Tournament of Power, and he passed that test. However, peace was not something that could remain forever. Before we get into the rest of the story, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you want more Dragon Ball content. Also, I'll be doing a sleep block, basically a 12-hour live stream, on my second channel on May 8th starting at 2 p.m. EST. I hope to see you there. Let's get back to where the story left off, though. After Champa left Earth, Carthu let out a sigh of relief. There was no way he could have beaten the God of Destruction, so if he wanted to, the Earth could have been destroyed once again. As Carthu ponders what he should do next after learning the universe is so vast, Kami uses telepathy to communicate with him. He tells Carthu to make his way to the lookout, so Carthu flies over as quickly as he can. Once he arrives, Kami explains the role of the gods in the universe, the hierarchy of them, and how the God of Destruction is there to balance creation with destruction. This was all well and good, but Carthu knows Kami could have told him that over telepathy, so what was the real reason he called Carthu to the lookout? Kami understands and tells Carthu that something is amiss in the world below. He can't tell what specifically, but something in nature itself was just wrong. Carthu asks what they should do, and Kami tells him he'd have to train to make sure he's ready for this threat. It could strike at any moment. Carthu thought to himself, Is this some kind of monster or something? An artificial life form, perhaps? If this were the neighboring universe, maybe that would have been the case. However, this was Universe 6, and no artificial life forms were being created to fight Carthu. Something potentially more terrifying was coming. Deep in the mountains, there was a stretch of land that seemed uninhabited and potentially even uninhabitable, but that didn't stop one man from living there. You see, the Blue Badge Army had their own scientist, but unlike Jiro from Universe 7, who was obsessed over androids and artificial life forms, this man sought nothing more than technological advancement. Anything that existed in the world currently, he sought to make it even better and more efficient than it already was. That's why when Champa came out of the sky, an alien casually coming to visit their insect-ridden world, he saw the potential to gain vast power from other worlds. This is where the disruptions of nature come into play. Using his already existent knowledge of the universe and planet locations, most of which he discovered with his improved version of the telescope, he was ready to make a quantum relocation device. In layman's terms, a teleporter. However, this scientific teleportation relied on folding space and creating two connecting wormholes to cover the distance, thus causing the natural balance of Earth to be upset in a way Kami could sense. The Doctor sought vengeance for the dismantling of the Blue Badge Army. While he didn't care for world domination, being on their side gave him the financial support required to continue his research and innovations. Now, all he had was their hidden stores of money that the army had left behind. And there was no way anyone could ever find that, so it was all in the clear. As the Doctor made his way from planet to planet, Carthu was training on the lookout with Kami, but the god feared that this wouldn't be sufficient for him to grow in a short period of time. Kami told Carthu that he'd have to train for at least 2 years on his own, using the principles of ki control that Kaio-sama and himself had instilled in the proud human warrior. Carthu questioned if they even had a year to spare, let alone 2 years, but Kami told him that there's a place he can train for a year that only requires a single day. Carthu looks confused, and Kami leads the mortal inside his palace and down to the Room of Spirit and Time, where 24 hours outside would be a year inside. This would be their only hope to fight whatever was coming their way. As 48 hours passed, the Doctor found himself on another world, this one appearing to be very urban in design, and he asked around about their technology and culture. Eventually, someone tells him of a very interesting legend, a legend that, if true, could get him his revenge once and for all. Carthu exits the Room of Spirit and Time after spending 2 years within it, and he comes out stronger than ever, but not as strong as Kami thought he'd be. However, Carthu assures him that he's learned a few new tricks while in there to make up for the raw strength that Kami couldn't sense. Carthu asks if anything changed out here, and Kami tells Carthu that nature has stopped being disrupted. However, for a brief moment, an overwhelming presence was on the planet, and then it vanished without a trace. Even with the ability to see the world below from the lookout, Kami couldn't find what had come to their world, but it couldn't be good. Carthu looks to Kami and says he'll go down to the surface. Hopefully he can find it before it pops up again. As he does, Kami could sense Carthu's power, even the power he was suppressing, and the force he sensed on the planet while Carthu was gone far outmatched him. What could he be planning? As Carthu lands on the surface, he can feel that something is amiss. Someone is hiding nearby, waiting to strike. Carthu lets out a powerful ki to knock down all of the trees surrounding him, allowing him to use his eyes since ki sense clearly wasn't helpful here. "No more hiding. If you're looking for a fight, then just face me." The hidden being smirked in the shadows and stepped out, revealing himself to be none other than the legendary assassin of Universe 6, Hit. "I'm sorry, but I've been hired to take you out." Hit begins to walk towards Carthu, and Carthu thinks to himself, hired? By who? There was no time to think about that, because in an instant, Hit went from slowly approaching Carthu to being right in his face and striking. As Carthu was sent flying back, he realized that this wasn't someone he could hold back against. Carthu takes in a deep breath, bracing his body and pulling his ki into himself. When he exhales, his ki is no longer detectable. Carthu, using his fight with Champa as reference and the principles of ki control that Kaio-sama and Kami taught him as a base, was able to replicate the power that Champa used against him. Without even knowing its name, Carthu had tapped into God Ki. Unlike a Saiyan, though, God Ki doesn't physically transform Carthu. Saiyan biology is just more tailored towards transformations than any other species. This is why the gods don't have a base form, except for the god of destruction in training, Toppo, who has some random form that no other god of destruction seems to have. But that's a different topic. Back to the fight, though, Hit begins to attack again, and once again Carthu loses track of the assassin as he closes in. Somehow, he's closing the distance between them instantly. Is it teleportation? Even if it's not, it uses the same basic principle. I just have to predict where he'll be before he teleports there. So, Carthu and Hit begin to trade blows. One attack for another, Hit and Carthu are exchanging each and every attack, but it's clear that Hit still has the advantage here. Carthu smirks and realizes he'll have to go all out for real. The air begins to crackle around them, and Carthu powers up using Kaio-sama's technique, the one similar to the Kaioken of Universe 7, ramping it up to 100 times. He knows he can handle 100, but 1000 might be pushing it, so he'll slowly ramp up from there if he has to. Hit smirks again, and his mind flashes back to the time he fought Son Goku. But he had a job to do, and he was already prolonging it for his enjoyment. Hit takes his hands out of his pockets, ready to use his killing technique, but before he can use it, a voice screams out for them to knock it off. The voice belongs to none other than Champa. The god of destruction was alerted of their battle by Vados and immediately came to Earth to see what was going on. Hit says he was hired to assassinate Carthu, but Champa tells Hit he's gonna have to decline that job since Carthu is a part of Universe 6's next team should another tournament of power come up. "No, no, no!" A voice echoes in the distance, and a vehicle can be heard making its way over to them as it does. Out of the vehicle emerges the doctor of the Blue Badge Army, and he tells Hit that he has to kill Carthu or else he won't receive his payment. Carthu instantly recognizes the symbol on the doctor's hat and asks if he was planning on using the Blue Badge Army's reserves to pay Hit. The doctor replies that of course he was. What of it? Carthu can't help but let out a little chuckle. "When I destroyed the army bases, I apparently got all their reserves as well. All the money and treasure that they had hidden away are just dust now." Hit looks back to the doctor with a furious glare, and it seems like he's about to end him. But before he can, Champa uses a Hakai to destroy the doctor. It is his job as god of destruction to destroy all threats to the universe, of course, so causing issues for their fighting team should count towards that. Champa then looks to Hit and tells him that whatever the doctor was willing to pay him, he'll double it so long as Hit talks to him before any assassination attempts are made. The assassin tells him to triple it, and then they'll have a deal. The god of destruction begrudgingly accepts. He tells Vados to prepare for them to leave, but she was busy examining Carthu. She tells him that it's very impressive that he learned God Key on his own, and to look out for training partners that'll be sent his way in the near future. Lord Champa wants to ensure that all the fighters of Universe 6 are up to snuff. With that, the angel, god, and assassin leave the planet, and Carthu has something to look forward to in the near future. On their way to drop off Hit, Champa asks why he didn't use his assassination technique from the start or the time cage. He could have ended it immediately if he had. Hit simply ignores the question, but if he had answered it, it would be because Carthu reminded him of someone else that he'd rather fight than kill. Someone that he might even consider a friend. This is where the story of Carthu ends for now, but who knows what the future has in store for our Earthling friend. I hope to see you at the Sleep Block on my second channel on May 8th, starting at 2 p.m. EST. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you want more Dragon Ball content over here, and thank you so very much for watching.